Hi everyone, how you doing? I am Mark and we are back with episode 15 of Minecraft Stoneblock. I have been away from the base for a fair amount of time in real time. I've been recording a lot of Path of Exile for my Path of Exile Betrayal series, so I haven't really been playing a lot of Minecraft over the last probably week or so. So when we left off, we were talking about a power system because our current power supply is working, but it is running a little short. So we are gaining slime balls, which is our fuel for our power system, slowly, but not enough to keep us going, especially if we start doing a bunch of crafting. Because we definitely are using a lot of power to craft, and we haven't even upgraded any of our crafting machines yet, so we need more power. And I talked about a couple solutions last time. I talked about using refined fuel, and I talked about using the numismatic dynamos, I guess they're called. I decided to do something a little different. I am going to go into some Mekanism and use the gas burning generator, I think. So if we take a look, gas burning generator, it's not super hard to make, but we do need some components. Notably, we need to make these enriched alloy, and we need to make the electrolytic core, which requires more enriched alloy, and we have to crush various metals to make that, and we also need steel to make the steel casing. So there's a couple ways to do all that, but I think what I want to do is push into Mekanism a bit, because I haven't really done a lot of Mekanism. And the gas burning generator burns gas, obviously. I am going to use ethylene. And ethylene, there's a liquid version, but there's also a just gas version. You produce ethylene in a pressurized reaction chamber from biofuel and hydrogen. Hydrogen we get by using an electrolytic separator to create hydrogen and oxygen from water. And biofuel we get from crushing. That was not what I expected. Crushing various organics into biofuel. So that's not too awful terrible. I don't think any of these have different yields. Whoops. I don't know how different any of these crushers are, other than, well, we may find out. Anyhow, so we need to make the crusher, which again needs more steel casings, which also needs these control circuits, which needs the metallurgic infuser, and pretty much everything that we need to make component-wise uses a metallurgic infuser. So I think that's where we're going to start. It is not particularly difficult to make. We just need a couple furnaces, some iron, some osmium, and some redstone, all of which we can make really quickly. So let's go ahead and get rid of that and make a couple furnaces, and we can just toss those up there, and then we can do metallurgic infuser, and we should just be able to make this. And we can. So I think what I want to do, before I do anything else actually, I want to make sure. We're going to do some auto crafting today, so I want to make sure that our pattern supply is full. And I have gone ahead and expanded our crafting recipes and given us a few more. These are all molecular assemblers tied to an ME interface. So we have plenty of auto crafting space. I also hooked up a bunch of ME interfaces downstairs to give us space for new machines. which I think is where we want to go now. Because I want to hook this up, this metallurgic infuser up to our auto crafting system. And this setup should look familiar. It's the same as this setup here. We have power and item conduits to pull items out of our crafting machines, and we have ME interfaces to put crafting recipes into. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick this here, and maybe we could do this. See, this is the part I don't really know, because I don't actually know. I think output dark blue. Okay. So why is that not connected? Can you not use item conduits with Mekanism? Let's see. Can we? Okay, we can. It is connected up, and if we do this, we are extracting and we're inserting power. And are you getting power? Let's just make sure. You have power. So the other thing we need to do is, let's see, so front, I guess this is back. Let's do that for input, and I guess turn these off. And that's output. That blue on blue is kind of hard to read. I think that's what we want. Front, side, back. Yep. So we're going to input from the back because that is where our... oh, but this is purple, so maybe that needs to be purple. Let's find out. I'm not sure how that's going to work, so we'll have to check it out. So the first thing we want to actually make is enriched alloy, which we can't find there, so we will go here. And enriched alloy is a combination of redstone and iron. So if I grab some redstone and some iron, which we have a ton of, and I just stick this in here, it's going to process this, and let's see if it auto extracts actually. It does. So it looks like our first recipe is going to be 1 redstone and 1 iron gives us 1 enriched alloy, because there's no redstone left here, so that is our auto crafting recipe. Let's go ahead and make that recipe, and we do that, as you recall, by going into the crafting table here, and we look for redstone. And we just need 1 redstone and 1 iron and enriched to make 1 enriched alloy. So in the pattern recipe, we do a processing pattern. We combine these to make this. We encode that pattern. And I'm going to go ahead and take that enriched alloy out of our storage system. If we look in here, there's our metallurgic infuser. So we put that pattern in, and then we look for enriched, and we say, let's go ahead and craft 10 of these, and let's see if they actually work. And it will take a minute because that machine is not particularly fast. So let's see. I believe that should be done by now. Let's see what you think you're doing. Well, you think you have them stored. Let's go see what this machine looks like. It is not receiving the items that it needs. Strict input off. I have no idea what that does. I don't know why that is not working. We have power and we're just not getting our items into our system here. So let me mess around with this for a few minutes and I will be back when I figure something out. Okay, well, it looks like my initial assumptions were vastly flawed. So, it appears Mekanism's machines have sided input, so we need to actually configure each side to accept a separate input slot. And if we look in here, we've got red, we've got purple. I don't know if you can see this very well. And then we've got blue output. So we need to look at our side config and do red input on the bottom, purple input. No, sorry. Red input on the back, purple input on the bottom, and blue input or blue output on the top. And in order to do that, we need to have sort of the same setup we used for our press creation. We have the ME interface feeding into a chest, and then the chest uses Ender IO conduits to split the output into the appropriate sides. I think our problem is going to be that I'll have to do some filtering on these. Right now I don't have any filters in here to prevent confusion if I dump mixed items in here that can go into multiple slots. You know, this recipe is iron and redstone. And I don't know, does Mekanism Machine show recipes? It does. So let's see real quick if it doesn't look like iron goes anywhere but the red slot, and redstone only goes in the purple slot. So maybe we don't need to filter, but I'm suspecting we might. We might have to. What is this? That's osmium with redstone. So yeah, it's going to be a little more complicated than I thought. It's probably also going to be a problem if we dump multiple recipes in this, and it's going to be mishmashing ingredients from two different recipes to create something else entirely. I'm not sure. We'll have to take a look at that. But for now, I'm going to leave this open so I can get back there and fix things when needed. And let's go over here to our crafting terminal. And that was my test, and it worked. So let's go ahead and try this. I canceled the previous recipe, so let's go ahead and try and craft 10 of these and see what happens. This time, we should actually get results. It thinks it's crafting them, so yeah, there's one coming in. So it's working. It's not very fast, but we can auto-craft those items as needed. So that's one of the things we need. Let's look at what else we need. We need to make steel. And to make steel, let me find steel ingot over here. One of these steel ingots we can make in the metallurgic infuser, I believe. No? I thought sure there was a recipe in the metallurgic infuser. Wow, I am losing my mind today. Apparently not. Huh. I could have sworn I saw steel in the metallurgic infuser. Oh, I know what it is. It is steel. There's a steel powder we can make in the metallurgic infuser. Let's see if I can find that. I do not see it, and I'm probably looking right at it. Alright, we can do it backwards. This is what happens when you don't play for a while. So we go here, we look at smelting, we can smelt steel dust, and oh, there's no recipe for steel dust anymore? I could have sworn there was a recipe for steel dust. There is not. That is interesting. Well, my plans are slowly falling apart here. Because none of these recipes... steel blend. There it is. We can make steel blend in the metallurgic infuser by combining coal with enriched iron to get steel blend. Enriched iron we get by infusing an iron ingot with charcoal or coal, and that we can do. So let's go upstairs and make these crafting recipes and hopefully get back on track. So we need to make one copy of this before we can actually make the recipe. I'm going to go ahead and throw those back in our system. So if I come over here and just plug these in manually, hopefully, yep. Enriched iron, and that is a 1-for-1, so we can go back upstairs and make that recipe. It's so confusing. So 1 coal, we just put that there. To make 1 enriched iron, that is our recipe. 1 coal, 1 iron, makes 1 enriched iron. We encode that pattern and we look in our interface terminal and we can find here is the chest connected to our metallurgic infuser. So we put that there and now we should be able to, if I take this out, do the same thing. We should be able to craft 10 of these. And again, it's going to take a little while because the metallurgic infuser isn't particularly fast. And once we see 1, that'll pretty much tell us that this is working. Yep, there's 1, so we can go ahead and stick those in there and we're on our way. Let me grab 1 because next we want to make this steel. Oh, and now I've lost track of what it was called again. Steel blend. In the metallurgic infuser, we need enriched iron plus coal. So we have the enriched iron. We actually need 2 because, as before, we need to make 1 of these. So we need enriched iron and we need some coal. We'll go ahead and get 2 coal. So back downstairs. This is probably still working, isn't it? It is. Okay, so we put 1 coal and we put 1 enriched iron, and that is going to give us our steel blend. Hopefully. It does, so I'm just going to snatch that out of there. And we go back up here and we can sub enriched iron in here and steel blend in here. Encode that recipe as usual. Stick the recipe in here, and now we can go ahead and craft 10 steel blend. And you can see that it's going to craft. We have 9 enriched iron, so it's only going to craft 1, which means it's going to use 11 coal plus 1 iron to craft 10 steel blend because we already have 9 enriched iron. We'll go ahead and start that, and it's going to take a little while. And let's see, what we want to do is make sure we get 1. We do. So that should all be working. Our next step is to make steel. And since we have some steel, that's electrical steel, so I guess we don't have steel. The way to make steel is just cook it in any furnace, really. Let's see what we have here. We have an alloy smelter. I think we can just throw this in here. Nope. We can do it in our diamond furnace. Maybe. Yep. Okay, we do have a redstone furnace hooked up downstairs, so I'm sure we can do this in that. So we do 1 steel blend, gives us 1 steel ingot in code. We look in our interface and scroll through until we find the redstone furnace, and we go ahead and stick our encoded pattern in there. Where are we on our steel? It's making that. So if we do craft and we just do 2, well, we do 2, it's going to use 2 of the steel blend we have to craft 2 steel ingots. And we'll just wait a minute. And again, this is not very fast because none of our machines are upgraded. And the whole point of this exercise is to get us the power we need to upgrade our machines. There's our 2 steel ingots, so that is working as well. So we can now craft steel. We can now craft the enriched alloy that we need. Let's see what else we need to make. Whoops. Gas burning. We have osmium. We have enriched alloy. The electrolytic core, we're going to need to make the recipes to crush gold, iron, and osmium, so let's go ahead and do that. And each of those crushing recipes we can do in the pulverizers. I hope. Oops, we should actually take 2 of these. Because as usual, you need both the source and the resulting material to make these. So we're going to have to crush. We have a bunch of dust. So I need to pulverize 1 of each of these just to get the materials we need to make the recipe. So we get rid of that. So to make 1 pulverized iron, we need 1 iron bar. To make 1 pulverized obsidian, we need 1 obsidian bar. And to make 1 pulverized gold, we need 1 gold bar. We encode those recipes, we go up here, and, as usual, we find our pulverizer, and we stick our recipes in. And did I duplicate any? I did not. Okay. So now we can go ahead and craft all those things. And the next thing we need to do is make that component, which I don't remember the name of. The electrolytic core. We can make all the parts for this, so we should be able to just encode that pattern, stick it in one of our molecular assemblers, and be good to go. Now we should be able to I guess the steel casing is the other thing that I should go ahead and look at. We just need steel ingots, osmium ingots, and any glass. So we can go ahead and encode this. And we'll just autocraft this to. So at this point, we can make all the components of our gas burning generator. We need 1 electrolytic core, 2 steel casings. So steel. Let me just go ahead and craft like 6 of those because I know we're going to need a bunch. And our problem here now is speed. Because as you can see, this is going to take a while to craft all these components. So while that is going on, I'm going to run downstairs, and since we've been doing a bunch of power intensive crafting, we had 81 stacks of rice or slime balls in our storage, and we now have, we have 82. We're still going up. That's good. I thought we might be out. I thought we might be running in the negative there because our power consumption goes up when we're crafting, all the machines running. Can look at our crafting recipe. It is still going, and it is going to take a while. So I will be back in a minute. Okay, so I made a few electrolytic cores to go with our steel casings and enriched alloy, and we now have a gas burning generator. The next step is creating our fuel. And if we look at ethylene, how about if we spell it right? We are making ethylene. And to make ethylene, we need a pressurized reaction chamber, which is going to produce our ethylene, and that is going to take water and hydrogen. And to make hydrogen, we need the electrolytic separator, which is going to just take water and separate it into hydrogen and oxygen. So let's start with the electrolytic separator. That recipe looks pretty familiar. We have almost everything we need. All we need is some enriched alloy, and I'm just going to make another 20 of these. And we should get the first one fairly quickly. Yes, fairly quickly, please. There we go. All right, that was easy. And the next thing we need is the PRC, ethylene, the pressurized reaction chamber. And this takes a little more effort. Oh, that takes a lot more effort, actually. So we need to make these control circuits, which are redstone and osmium in the metallurgic infuser, and hopefully they are 1-to-1. So let's see if we can, let's take a guess at that. 1 redstone, we have 1 osmium. I'm just going to throw this junk in here to clean out our inventory a bit. Let's go downstairs and check on the status of this recipe. Except this is running because it's still making our iron ingots into enriched alloy. So I will be back in a minute once again. Okay, let's see if our guess is correct. 1 redstone and 1 osmium. Gives us our basic control circuit, which disappeared too fast for me to grab it. Okay, so let's go ahead and autocraft those. So we need 1 redstone and 1 osmium to make our basic control circuit, and this is a processing pattern, so we switch that. We encode that, and while I'm here, I am going to go ahead and make some I'm going to craft another 20 patterns in the background because we are going to need them, it looks like. So this also goes in here because it is a metallurgic infuser pattern. And let's go ahead and craft, I don't know, 4 of those. But that is not everything we need for the pressurized reaction chamber. We also need a couple. We need some basic gas tanks, we need a dynamic tank, and we need an enrichment chamber, and there's a lot of stuff to make. So, I'm going to do that off camera because it's kind of getting repetitive and I don't want to bore people with, the auto crafting cycle. So I will be right back when I have some more stuff. Okay, let's see if we can get a little bit of progress here before we have to wrap up the episode. I went ahead and made a sink. I hooked up a pressurized fluid conduit to provide this electrolytic separator with some water, and I don't have it on yet. We do need to provide these machines with power, so let's go ahead and hook some power up, and I'm going to make a flux pointer plug, removing energy from the network. We're going to go ahead and make that. And we can stick that here and add it to our network. And it's immediately going to start charging things up. So this has power and this has power. We can hit that interface, always active. And this is filling with water, and it's already creating oxygen and hydrogen. Now the question becomes, how do we get the oxygen and hydrogen out of this? And that is a really good question. Because those are gases, and you can't use fluid conduits to move gases. So let's go ahead and try. Mekanism has tubes. Basic pressurized tube. These are relatively easy to make, I think. Oh, it's steel. Yeah, we'll go ahead and make these and see if we can use them to move this gas out of here. And it is moving a gas, and it is moving oxygen. And I guess these are sided. So this is now full of oxygen, which is not what we actually want because we are trying to make ethylene. And ethylene, as we see, requires hydrogen and water. Well, water's going to be easy because we can add that from our sink. But we need hydrogen. And I'm guessing we're going to have to do something ridiculous like that. And I have no idea how to remove fluid from that now that the fluid, or remove a gas from this now that it's in. Does it break? Let's do that and replace this. Probably going to keep its inventory, isn't it? It is. Is there a dump? There probably is a dump somewhere. There is not. Okay, so we have a few things to do. I think that is going to actually pipe the gas that we want out. We're going to have to do something with this excess oxygen, and we're going to have to do something with this oxygen in here because we don't really want it in there. So I obviously have not thought about this well enough to progress. So I'm going to have to figure out some things and come back when I have a better plan, because I have no plan at all right now. I am lost. let me do some research and actually come up with a plan to get this working in some more reasonable fashion than me just throwing down a bunch of stuff and hoping it works, because that's clearly not working. I hope you enjoyed the chaotic episode. If you did, consider leaving a like or subscribing to the channel. Hit the notification bell if you want to find out when new videos go up. And have a great day. I hope I see you next time. Bye.